So obviously we are still in the thick of the primary season, and then once we're done with that, we're gonna have the general elections as well. And both on the primary side and upcoming with the midterm general elections, we have got a number of fascinating races and fascinating candidates. And I wanna turn now to a great example of that. And that is the Senate race in Maine, where you have the incumbent, that is the independent Angus King. You now have a Republican, that is Eric Brakey, a 28-year-old Republican, someone going up against Angus King. And you have Zach Ringelstein, who thankfully joins us now on the Damage Report. Democratic candidate, Zach, welcome to the show.
How you doing, John? It's great to be here.
It's great to have you here. So you've got an interesting background in a couple of different areas that I wanted to at least touch on before we start talking about the race. You have been described as the first ever dues-paying DSA member running for Senate. So talk to me about that.
That is correct. I am the Democratic nominee for US Senate here in the state of Maine, and I am a dues-paying Democratic socialist. And I'm very proud of it. I think that we as Democrats need to take bold stances on policies. I don't think Medicare for all, reducing income inequality, a Green New Deal, college-free tuition are anything but democratic. And we're a big tent, the Democratic Party, and we need to be taking bold stances. And so I'm excited to be part of a movement for actual real change and getting the corporations out of government.
So you've been philosophically and ideologically close to the DSA even before you were a dues-paying member of it. I know that over the past couple of months, we've had candidates like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez who have become just about as high profile in politics in recent days as you can be, and it has caused a conversation about democratic socialism on MSNBC, and Fox News is actually talking about it, not necessarily honestly, but they're at least covering it. After months of that
advertising.
Yeah, it might well be. So I guess maybe that is a preview of your answer. But after months of that conversation, does that change at all your, I guess, willingness to associate yourself with the DSA and with democratic socialism?
I think obviously the word socialism has all the connotations that it has, and I think that honestly we've had socialism for the rich forever. I mean, the rich get everything in society. I mean, just ask them how it feels when they start a bank account. What it feels like when they start a loan, what it's like when they pay their taxes. I mean, at the end of the day, these guys are getting whatever they want. The idea here is that they've sold this idea, this narrative that socialism is bad. Socialism is not inherently bad. We've been sold that. We all deserve to have the basics. We deserve to have food on the table. We deserve to be able to have a roof over our head. We deserve to be able to go to the doctor without fearing that it's going to take away from our children's education. We deserve to go to excellent public schools. We deserve to be able to drive to work without having to get a wheel alignment because the roads have potholes in it, as they do here in Maine. I mean, my God, these are just sensible policies that are trying to create dignity here in America for about 50% of Americans who can't even afford a $400 emergency.
Every one of those policies you mentioned sounds insane, and you, sir, are an extremist. So, look, I'm kidding. I want to talk to you more about the race, but
can I quickly add to that? I think the idea that I'm an extremist is funny, okay? Because I'm the youngest of 4 kids who grew up in rural America in a hunting town. I grew up going to church. I'm a married man with 2 kids. I drive a truck and I like country music. Like, let me be really honest with you. Like, we as Americans all want the policies of the DSA. The problem is the word socialism. We just need to provide what is necessary to make sure that everyone can thrive. Everybody wants this, but all the fear mongering is going to be created, and unfortunately, we end up with Fox News yelling and screaming at us, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll take it.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned the country music because that's probably the greatest disagreement I have with you, actually.
Oh man, okay.
But I appreciate your
give it a shot.
I have, and there's a little bit that I do actually like. So I want to ask you about something that you did over the past couple of months. So you wanted to see what was going on in the detention centers down by the border. So you took a trip down there, and what ended up happening?
So I went down there. I thought to myself, with the crisis that was going on, with Trump literally creating internment camps here in this country, that I have this unique opportunity as a U.S. Senate candidate, as a U.S. Senate nominee, to do what I think my elected officials should be doing. And so my thought and our staff's thought was I should go to the fire as opposed to running away from it and, tweeting about it from our air-conditioned office. And so so we decided to go. We said, let's find where these detention centers are and let's head on down there. So we booked a flight, got on a flight literally the next morning. I said goodbye to my 2 kids for a couple of days and went down there. And we decided that as a public school teacher and as a dad, what these kids were missing was toys, books, water, blankets, like the basic necessities, things that literally are going to create trauma in these kids' lives for the rest of their lives and are going to literally prohibit their brain from growing the necessary pathways for these kids to learn, okay? Yeah. So for me, going down there, I wanted to go, and so we filled a pickup truck full of supplies and went to 3700 Ursula Way, and there was actually a flood there. It felt like there was a moat around it. There was literally only one other protester there because it was so early on, I guess, in this, and people couldn't find it, and there was flooding. Anyway, we got there. I think we were actually we were live with you guys at the time, and what happened is that we have this state-of-the-art detention center, and then you have truly these vans, these ICE vehicles coming by. And I said, "Sir, what are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, get out of my way. I'm delivering prisoners." And I said, "So you're really calling children prisoners?"
Yeah.
And I decided at that point there was no reason I was going to move. I made a couple of requests. One was to get inside and to be able to deliver what I had on the back of the truck. And the second was to get a full plan of how the kids were going to be returned to their families. They met none of the requests. I stood my ground, had several conversations, and they quickly, as soon as the media started to arrive, they put me in handcuffs and brought me to jail. And I was in jail. I was in a rubber room. I was detained for about 24 hours, and I was shackled and brought to county prison. And they tried to get a second charge on it. They tried to put a felony on this, and it was just disgraceful. And what happened is that many other protests and arrests precipitated, and I think we were able to draw a lot of attention to an issue that is truly one of the most egregious things that has happened in this country, at least in my lifetime.
Well, look, I got to give you a lot of credit, obviously not just for having the right position on this sort of issue, but being willing to go before many other politicians were down there to see for yourself what was going on. So credit to you for that. And we're unfortunately at a time. I'm glad that we got a chance to talk about your ideology. Hopefully, maybe you can come back on closer to the election. We can talk about some more of the specifics of that Senate race in Maine.
Yeah, no, I would love that. We're running with no corporate PAC or lobbyist money, so anyone who wants to, give a contribution to our race, will take it. We're doing it in a way that is unheard of, and we're really proud of it. But it means that we need you to support us. This is our bumper sticker: "Get money out of politics." We appreciate you, man, and we appreciate all you're doing. You're shining a spotlight on the candidates who need spotlights. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ringelstein for U.S. Senate, and others are literally going to be leading the way to be the hope and future of this country. And we need it to get out of tyranny, to create a Green New Deal, and to make sure we can have Medicare for all.
Well, thank you, Zach, for joining us. It's great to have you on.
Thank you so much, John. Take care.
Thank you so much for watching this video from The Damage Report. Please don't forget to like the video and also to subscribe to the channel so that you get notified as soon as new videos become available. To hear even more about both this topic and other issues not being covered nearly enough by the mainstream media, you're gonna wanna tune in every morning to our full hour-long show. That's at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, available on the TYT Network channel on YouTube TV.